Okay, that's it. Now, Erica, we are live. So thanks for agreeing to hang out with me and chat a little bit about what it means to be an entrepreneur. But before we get too far, what does that sign over your right shoulder mean?
Yeah, zero. Oh, I guess it's that way. Zero op zero options mentality. So basically it is you see things all the way through. And those days you want to quit, there's zero options. You got to do it. You got to follow through on what you said you're going to do.
You just have no choice.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are going to be listening to this on the podcast, there's a neon sign behind Erica that has 3 lines on it: zero options mentality. And so it just caught my eye here as we got started. Erica, for those of our listeners and watchers that don't know who you are, what's like the 3 sentence story of who you are today, what you're working on, and then we'll get into some of the details.
So yeah, my name is Erica Rankin. I'm a 27-year-old Canadian entrepreneur, building a edible protein cookie dough CPG company, and also building out a, I guess, social media consulting passion project on the side. So in a
So,
nutshell.
so at 27 years old, how did you decide you wanted to start a CPG company?
I guess I'll give you like a little a recap. I won't go kind of too into it, but basically,
Sure.
I think I was 23. I
Okay.
graduated from university, got my degree, thought that I wanted to pursue my master's and then my PhD, and I did psychology. I was really interested in human behavior and wanted to like be a psychiatrist and work with people and help people and then I started working a 9 to 5 job in research, kind of in my field after school. And I was making literally no money. I had no benefits. I sat in a cubicle. There was no windows around me, and I wasn't surrounded by the happiest people. So I guess after a year of working that job, and I was also working at a bakery and just doing personal training on the side. That was kind of like the stuff that like made me happier versus like my 9 to 5. But yeah, I got to the end of my contract and was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I quit it. And then I quit my other jobs. And then I booked a trip to Southeast Asia. And I planned on going for 1 month. And then I stayed for over 3 months. And I guess on that trip, I met entrepreneurs and that kind of got the wheels turning in my head. And then when I got home, I decided to just go with it and launch a food CPG business with no experience.
Now, so you've got a huge LinkedIn audience, and if you don't follow Erica on LinkedIn, make sure that you do. She's always got some very interesting things to share. She's very honest and very transparent in her posts, which I think goes a long way for entrepreneurs that that maybe wouldn't be as brave as Erica would be, but she shares the wins and the struggles. But I think you'd agree, or maybe not, but most entrepreneurs don't have like a grand master plan when they start their business. Certainly the entrepreneurs that I've run into, it just was sort of one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. And then you sort of look up and go, oh, well, I mean, I guess I'm an entrepreneur. Would you agree with that? Or do you think that it is a little bit more methodical?
Um, for me, it wasn't. And a lot of people that I talk to, like, we don't really know what we're doing. And I think that's the misconception is like you think that everyone has it all figured out. And that's what I learned on my trip. Like, I talked to someone who was a former lawyer and he was miserable and hated it. And then he jumped into real estate and like building these immaculate houses and flipping these houses. And he had no experience, kind of just like went with it, no big plan behind it. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of like fly by the seat of my pants sometimes. And that's how I like got into this business. And I think too, you have to have like a bit of naiveness, you know? Like it's good to not know some things because if you knew everything, I don't think you would jump all in into it.
Yeah, I think given certainly my experience, some days you just wouldn't get out of bed
Yeah.
because that knowledge of what's coming next would just keep you under the bed sheets and say to yourself, like, I don't even want to face the day. But on that same token, on that same stream of thought, what is it that in your toughest days does get you to the end of the day and into the next day? I know from part of why I had reached out to you is you had shared some pretty honest LinkedIn posts. And I thought, wow, like there's got to be something underneath just winging it every day that encourages you to get to the end of the day and keep going tomorrow. What is it for you?
So it's probably like my why. I never really, and I guess like my why has changed over the past year since I embarked on this. At first, it was like, I just want to be my own boss. I want to build something really cool. And, like I want to have my own thing and like I don't want to answer to anyone. That was kind of why I got into this. And then as time went on, I started getting all of these younger, I guess, entrepreneur curious individuals coming up to me and approaching me. And they're like, I love what you're doing. And I'm really scared and I want to get into this. And like, you're inspiring me. And I guess it kind of shifted now. And like, people kind of look up to me and I mentor people and I help them throughout their journey. And I have mentors that I go to and friends that I go to on those down days. Cause being like a solopreneur, the mistake that I made really early on is I didn't have people around me who were entrepreneurs. Like they didn't get it. And I loved my friends, I loved my circle, but they just couldn't help me in the ways that I needed them to. So then I turned to LinkedIn and I started building out that network. And now if I'm having a down day, I'm like, hey, like, help me. I'm having a crisis, like either it's just like a friend who can help me or someone who's been through it and can kind of give me advice and stuff. And also, yeah, just having those, the mentees, like, kind of look up to me. It's really cool. It keeps me going.
Now, the CPG space is a pretty big space. There's lots of folks that are producing a product and marketing it and selling it. I am not in that space, but certainly following lots of folks who are. It seems to be a very robust community. What are some of the highlights of working in the CPG space, aside from the competitiveness of it? Because I think there's lots to learn by watching what your competitors are doing. But what are some of the highlights of being a part of that community?
Oh, it's the best people ever, honestly. And yeah, it's so cool. And there's just so much passion into it. And yeah, like it's kind of like a family, like a close-knit family. Everyone kind of knows everyone. And even though the world seems like such a big place, really though, there aren't that many CPG founders, there aren't that many people that are kind of going like knees deep into this industry. It's a really hard industry, and that's what I'm learning. But yeah, people just want to give back. And that's the thing. Like when I first got on LinkedIn, I had 12 connections and I remember like shaking and like messaging like these really like crazy gosh, these really big entrepreneurs that have built these really incredible companies that like I have in my pantry that I've like ate forever and I like love them and I admire them. And then I got to like learn who the founder was and kind of study the founder. And then some of those people that I first reached out to are still my mentors to this day. So they really want to just give back and reinvest into the industry. It's like this big cycle because they know how hard it was when they first started.
Right.
Yeah.
If you look at the arc of building a business, everyone's at kind of a different stage on that arc. What stage are you at right now in your business?
So I am just getting over Death Valley. So that's
Well
like
said. Good for you.
the scaling phase, I guess. Because I just recently partnered with a manufacturer. So I went from being very heavily involved in the operations to now kind of outsourcing a lot of stuff. Like I don't pick and pack anymore. I don't make it anymore. I'm kind of delegating more now, which feels really nice. So I can kind of put my sales and marketing hat on and really grow the brand. So yeah, I'm just a little further in past year just over 2 years.
But you're at
Um,
that inflection point where you're trying to scale up now.
yeah, so it's a whole nother ball game, and it's funny because I thought when I got to this point that my problems would be significantly lesser. I wouldn't have as many issues. They just show up in different ways now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you think if you did it again, it would take the same 2 years?
No, oh gosh, absolutely not. Yeah. That's the thing too. I never like again when I got into this industry, I had no experience. I didn't know. I was like, "Oh, what is food science? Like what is a sell sheet? Like I didn't what is pricing? What is a margin? Like I don't know how much literally I didn't know anything. I did it all wrong the first time around. I was underselling my product and spending so much time in the kitchen making it and yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. And I think you know what? It's good to learn though. It's good to learn.
Yeah, I've always
Definitely.
said there's a certain level of work that has to be done to get the victory that you want or the success that you want, and you really get to decide how fast or how slow you're going to go through that work and learn those lessons. You can't not learn them, but you can control how quickly how quickly
Mhm.
you learn them. For someone that maybe isn't at the inflection point that you're at right now, where they're looking to scale, what are one or two tips that you'd give them, or one or two personal experiences, good, bad, or otherwise, that you know for sure if you did this again, those two things would have made a big difference in maybe shortening that 2 year time frame?
So I think like at the beginning, the thing that I didn't do is I didn't think long term. So I kind of just took things day by day, and that's really good. Don't get me wrong; like it's good to have that mindset. But at the same time, you need to think about how you can commercialize or scale whatever it is you're going to do. Like, what would it look like? I don't know, like $100,000 company versus like a $1 million company. Like, what steps do you need to take to get there? So I think like having like a long term, like maybe like a 2 or 3 year business plan, like that would have really helped me, and it would have helped me move things a lot quicker. And just like asking questions earlier on, like that's something that I wish I did because I remember getting super burnt out in the kitchen, and I was like, okay, this is the moment that I need to scale. And I thought it was going to take like 1 or 2 months, and it took like 5 months for me to find a co-packer. And it took like 5 months to do like a reformulation and make my formula in a way that could be scalable, and like have better shelf life. And there's just like little things that come up. Obviously, you can't be prepared for everything, but I think just like knowing what it takes to scale earlier on, it's good to be prepared, I think.
Yeah, and so if you sort of follow along, most of us are just winging it every day. Some of us have figured out that at some point you do need a northern star that you're like looking at and working towards. From 0 to 2 years, most of the entrepreneurs that I interact with wear multiple hats. So you switch from like a finance hat to an operations hat to a sales and marketing hat. Which hat are you most comfortable wearing?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love storytelling, and I love the branding, and I love I've gotten to love being on camera and stuff, and I guess interacting with my customers and followers.
What hat do you not enjoy wearing?
Operations.
Oh yeah. What is it? What is it about operations that you don't love?
It's just like, yeah, the logistics of it and like the spreadsheets and that, like I'm not a very numerical person. Like I think that's left-brained, right?
Yeah,
Left-brained?
I
Yeah,
think
so
so.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm very right-brained. I'm very creative, and I love kind of like I don't know, doing, yeah, the more creative aspect of the business, and yeah, storytelling, marketing, sales, all of that. I really like that. I like talking to people and communicating with people and being passionate about my brand. And I'm not a lover of spreadsheets. So anything that has a spreadsheet, I do it, but I don't enjoy it.
As a lover of spreadsheets, who is terrible at sales and marketing, what have you noticed with entrepreneurs, either in your space or other spaces, that they often miss the mark on when it comes to sales and marketing?
Consistency, and I take a little bit of a different approach when it comes to marketing. Like I'm very transparent, and that's kind of been my goal since day one. Like people have seen me build my business in real time, and I kind of show like, I pull the curtain back and can show people what's actually going on behind closed doors. And I wish that more brands did more of that, especially now because there's so many categories that are so saturated. There's so many competitors, and what is one thing that you can do that makes you differentiate yourself or stand out from your competitors? And I think having that personal touch and showing that like to your customers or followers goes such a long way. And then it's like building out this like little fan base, like not only do they love the product, but they love the people behind it. So I think that's important.
Why do you think most entrepreneurs don't do that? Is it fear? Is it they don't know how? They're not comfortable. They're not confident. Maybe they're not convinced that they want to share everything with everyone all the time. What do you think? What do you see?
So, yeah, I guess the things that I hear, because I work with a few people on this, and founders are not always comfortable on camera. Like, they're either very into the business and like doing the work, like building the business and all of that. They don't like being the face of the brand, and they're not comfortable on camera. And I also hear too, they're like, "Oh, I don't have time for that," which I understand. But you can make time, absolutely, and I think it goes a long way. And I think that's why I've done so well organically. Like I've spent $1,500 on marketing in 2 years, just because I've really leveraged that organic reach.
And do you think that the ability to storytell and be the face of the business is unique to the CPG space, or have you seen examples where it has worked in other industries or other businesses or products or services?
Um, I mean, there's Shanae Moret, so she has the Growth Academy, and she teaches you how to grow like your LinkedIn and social media and stuff like that. And she kind of is the face of that company. And she goes on like LinkedIn Live and stuff. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her.
I'm not. No.
Um, yeah, so I think she's one of the only people on LinkedIn who isn't a celebrity to have over 1 million followers or something,
Oh, wow.
which is pretty crazy. Yeah, so I think she kind of is like the face of that. In terms of like other businesses, I'm not entirely sure, but I know with CPG, like a lot more founders are coming through and sharing their story and being more transparent and open and um, trying to like yeah have a more transparent um, relationship or view like with the people that follow them.
With your CPG brand, and that's Brodo, correct?
Yeah. Hmm.
Erica,
Yeah. What happened?
your computer just shut down out of nowhere.
Oh, okay.
What I Wow, that's terrible. I've never had that happen. Thanks for not.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Stuff
What
happens.
I was asking was, with your CPG brand, uh, do you find that you end up building your own little tribe of customers? Like, does it work its way down to your customers the way it sounds like it would? Does your storytelling and your transparency resonate with your customers? And have you seen that change the outcome for where your business is?
I think so. Yeah, I have like the engagement that I have on different platforms like TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn, especially too, like the way that I approach my customers is a little different than other businesses. Like I kind of look at them as my friends.
Yeah,
And I talk to them like they're my friends. Like when they're messaging me and stuff, like I reply. Sometimes I send them videos or voice notes or whatever just to like make it more personable. And I think that's why they like gravitate towards me and the product because like I'm like, hey, like join Team Rodo, like Rodo Gang, where you at? Like I really care about them and I think with the honesty and stuff and just kind of like showing them what it takes to build a business. Like it's also really interesting to them because even me, like being a consumer before I even step foot in this industry, you go to a store and you see a product on a shelf and you're like, wow, that's cool, whatever. Like you put it in your basket and you're on your way. But now I'm like, do you know how much blood, sweat, and tears it took to get that
actually went
product
into that. Yeah,
on the
yeah.
shelf? And then yeah, and then like to market it. And then at the end of the year, like it could be like a 6 figure, 7 figure, 8 figure business, but that company is only taking back like a little tiny sliver of that total revenue. So it's I have a huge amount of respect for people in this industry. It's really tough.
Now, is the big game plan, because you mentioned that if you did it all over again, you'd have some idea what the long term plan was going to look like, without being specific and revealing any secret sauce or any secret ingredients. What would your long term play be? Would it be to sell your product? Would it be to move into other categories? Would it be to hire a management team and let them run the business? How do you sort of see what your long term plan, how it's going to lay out in a perfect world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna build this thing and then sell it, I think.
Okay.
And like my dream, ideally, like I want to build something else. I'm not sure exactly what it'll be. We'll see. Time will
Yeah.
tell. I'll get through this thing and then see what's next. But I would love to like reinvest in other female-owned startups because I think that is so awesome. And I know it's like only a certain percentage of VC funding goes towards women entrepreneurs. Like it's a super, super small amount. And I don't know, I love helping and I love mentoring and I would love to be on the board and like help another company grow because I think it'd be so cool to contribute.
So build it and sell it. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So as you wake up each day, is that what you're thinking about as you make your business decisions and as you complete your tasks and keep moving the ball down the field, so to speak?
A little bit, like, it's kind of in the back of my mind that it's, because this isn't gonna be like um, a business or a brand that I'm gonna, like, pass on to my kids and stuff, like, that's
Sure.
kind of not my intention with it. Ideally, would like to get bought out by a bigger company down the road. But yeah, I mean, I just kinda I take things one day at a time, and as long as I'm moving the needle forward, that's all that matters, and I do make decisions based on that, and I think as you start to scale too, it's really important to know what your end goal is. Like if you want to keep this business for like 20, 30, 40 years, then you're not going to be taking on a ton of investors and venture capitalists and all of that because they're expecting an exit strategy. So I guess yeah, it does play into my everyday decisions for sure.
And have you seen somebody in your within your peer group or within your marketplace that is maybe further down the path than you are that you're looking to model, or at least watching to see how they're doing, or is this something that you are venturing out into on your own?
So there's one company that I really love and admire, and I haven't met her before, but we've spoken. So Tara Bosch, she built a company called Smart Sweets, and it's basically a better for you candy. It has like 3 grams of sugar per bag or something, and she sold the company for a lot. I think about a year and a half ago, and I think it was founded in 2016 or 2017. But it grew very quickly. It was almost like a unicorn brand. But yeah, I mean, I kind of am just kind of doing things at my own pace with my own, I guess, intentions and stuff. And then I have mentors as well who have been through this and have had multiple exits, and they're kind of, I guess, staging it up for me and lining it up and kind of educating me about what your 3 should look like, your 4 should look like, your 5 should look like. So I'm prepared.
It's a great answer and well articulated. Because I think certainly most of the entrepreneurs that I'm interacting with don't they actually don't know how they're going to exit their business. In fact, they get up every day. They got into business not with any grand plan. They just got into it because they wanted the freedom or they didn't want the accountability of someone over top of them. And the next thing you know, they're 5 years into a business and they're going, oh, now I have to get out of bed in the morning. I have people I'm responsible for. I have customers and so forth. So the fact that your exit strategy is to sell, was there something that happened that caused you to really crystallize that? And that might sound like a lay down question, but it really isn't, because I think there's lots of entrepreneurs that they actually have no clue what they're doing with their business. They didn't get in to get out. They got in for other reasons, but now they're stuck and they need something that they can point to. So what was it for you?
Yeah, I think like the further I get into it, I'm just really recognizing what my strengths and weaknesses are. And just because I'm the CEO now, doesn't mean I'm going to be the CEO when it's like a 5 million or $10 million business. It's going to have to switch to a more, I guess, corporate culture, corporate structure. There's obviously someone that's going to have to come in who has experience in like really growing and managing a CPG brand. Because it's different when you're growing, like really growing. And you know what? Like I'm a builder. I love building things. I love being creative. I love watching things grow and create. I don't think I'm a person who wants to like be the CEO of a company forever and manage a company forever. And I love the product and I love the business, but I definitely don't think it is a end all be all for me.
You made a comment about women founders and how you'd like to support them. Um, I'm not a woman and I'm not a woman founder, but if you could double click on that a little bit, what are some of the challenges that you've seen as a woman looking to build not only a CPG brand, but to go into the marketplace to create a business? For I guess for context, what should other people know about if you were talking to other entrepreneur women? Whatever you would say would resonate with them. And if you were talking to folks like me, it would give me some insight into really what you're working against every day. Because it's already hard enough to be an entrepreneur. But if the deck is a little bit stacked against you, what does that look like? And then how do you interact with that challenge each day?
I think, like, because I do have younger, women entrepreneurs approach me, or I guess women who are looking to pursue entrepreneurship. The industry, like whatever they're going into or just like entrepreneurship in general, it's really intimidating to them. And
Okay.
they're very like, yeah, that's the thing. Like I have people come up to me and I guess I don't know if I'm approachable or if it's just because I'm super open and transparent with my journey because this lifestyle can be very shiny, like the way that it's portrayed on social media. And that's what I really don't like. It's almost like toxic positivity, like you see on Instagram, like the photoshopped like highlights of someone's life. You don't see like the actual story that
The
goes
real
on
stuff.
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing too. And even for me, like as a female founder, and there are definitely not as many females, I think, pursuing entrepreneurship or in business because it can be very intimidating. But yeah, I remember like going on and looking at like LinkedIn and other different social media platforms and seeing like, "Oh, okay, like I got into this account and I fundraised this much amount of money and I did this and I did this. And I'm like, okay, well, how come like everything's so hard for me?
Right.
And no one really talks about it. So, yeah, I mean, I think too, it's I think it's nice having a like a female mentor or someone who gets it. For other females, you can kind of see things through the same lens. Um, and yeah, I just there's not that many. Like Arlene Dickinson is one. She's a
Sure.
big
Yeah.
VC here in Canada, and I love what she's doing. And I would love to maybe one day get to that stage and help build other female companies.
So over the last 2 years, what would have been something that would have made those specific challenges easier? Would it have been having more access to female mentors? Would it have been having more access to female entrepreneurs? Like, what would have been something that might have made that less challenging than it was, or it has been, and continues to be?
Yeah, I think like maybe just having more female mentors because like a lot of the people that I surrounded myself with, like even weren't really in the industry or entrepreneurs at all. And I think having other females who are not only like higher above you and have been through it and they know the challenges they've been through it, they can kind of help guide you and prepare you. But having other females that are at the same level as you. And I didn't really have that for the first like year and a half. And then I started connecting with other women and started I guess having regular calls with them and a lot of challenges we face we could kind of like work through and talk through with each other. But yeah, it definitely can be intimidating when you're kind of entering entrepreneurship and you don't really have a business background and there's all these like moving parts and yeah.
Well, I think as an entrepreneur, again, it's already hard enough, right? Making the decision to go out on your own, start a business, take the risk, all that kind of stuff. That's already hard. And then I would imagine being in the position that you're in, not having maybe female context because there just isn't the availability of it, would prove even more challenging. I do notice that is getting a lot more attention. However, when I look at my social feeds, when I look at headlines, when I look at the people that I'm following, certainly, it's not an unknown issue. Do you see it getting better? Do you see that maybe it's all hype with no substance, or is the next female entrepreneur that comes behind you going to have an easier time building their business and bringing it to the market?
Yeah, I think it is getting better, it is improving, especially when you have, like, gosh, like the Sarah Blakeleys of the world and,
She's
like,
amazing.
they're yeah, they're setting such a good example, and even the company culture that she's building, like, I think she gave every one of her employees, like, 10 grand or something,
Yep.
yeah, so I think, like, it is getting better, and you know what, like, again, Arlene Dickinson, she really speaks on this issue a lot, and I see her posting about it regularly, and I think like that's kind of the first stepping stone is like bringing awareness to the issue. And yeah, I don't know. I really want to see more. I want to see more female entrepreneurs getting into this.
So let's assume that a couple of them are listening to this podcast at some point. What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh, just do it. Go into it. I think for me too, it was very intimidating and I felt super underqualified, right? Like you feel like you have to know everything and again, like growing up, I thought that business was not for women. I
Oh,
was like
wow.
that. Yeah, I don't know. It was just very weird for me because I grew up in a family where my parents worked like traditional, like 9 to 5 jobs. I didn't really have any friends who were in business. And I thought, well, I can't do that. Like, I don't know anything about business. And kind of like, I guess stereotypically you kind of see like suit and tie, like
Sure. Yeah.
and there I didn't really have any, I guess, growing up, like business influence or like women entrepreneurs to really look up to. Definitely gotten better over the years, and we've seen more and more and more surface. But yeah, I mean, I was very scared and I felt like I didn't know enough and I felt underqualified. And then when I started having conversations with other entrepreneurs, like high school dropouts and people who literally had no freaking clue what they were doing, they just kind of jumped into an industry that piqued their interest. I realized, okay, like I can do this. Like
I can
these
do
guys,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
these guys that I met on this trip, like they don't know, like it's like everything is kind of like this illusion. And then when I got to like have these conversations, it was like, wow, we're all kind of like in the same boat. We don't really know what we're doing. We don't really know what we want in life. We're kind of just, figuring it out. And again, like I think with I guess entrepreneurship, like you have to kind of figure out what your passion is. And you know what? Like I started this company and I love food and I love better for you food products and I love creating things. And I guess along the way, I kind of figured out like, oh, I actually love like mentoring and I love helping and guiding and teaching and learning. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
So you would tell a female entrepreneur, just do it. But it also
Yeah.
sounds like you would say, not just do it, but actually just start reaching out to other people as well. Other female entrepreneurs, find them. I mean, we live in a world right now where it's pretty easy to find people that can encourage you or can inspire you, even if you don't get to talk to them one on one. You can certainly see, like Sarah Blakely is a the ultimate example. But again, she's
Mm.
pretty transparent with her life. She has shared her entire story as she's built and sold her business. So just do it, but also make sure you get in front of the right people and don't hesitate to reach out because no one really knows what they're doing. Everyone pretends they do, but nobody does, right? We're all winging it to some extent every
Yeah,
day.
that's true. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, as you've given me the time that you said you would, and I'm very, very grateful for it. And I know that the folks listening to this will take away some nuggets. As we leave each other's company today, what would you say is probably what do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
Uh, I love so many things. There are things that I there's things there's things that I don't like, but no, I think just like the community, and the people in it. Like and the learning. There's a lot of things that I like, but I feel like over the past 2 years, I've learned more than like my whole undergraduate degree because I've been so hands on and I've been like in the business, building the business. And there's so much knowledge, like so much knowledge. And every day you're going to be learning something. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I love learning and I love reflecting on the growth that I've had.
Yeah, what a great answer. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I get a lot of answers from people like, oh, I enjoy making money. I enjoy creating value.
Mhm.
I enjoy, someone like me might say, I enjoy the problem solving end of being an entrepreneur, trying to fix that next thing. But for you to say that you enjoy the learning, that you enjoy bettering yourself, that's a wonderful answer. For folks that are listening, Erica, what's the best way to follow you and get in touch with you?
Yeah, so, I guess if you're in Canada and you wanna get cookie dough, brodough.ca is my website. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Erica Rankin, and then I also do social media consulting, Grow with Erica, ERICA.com. Yeah, that's how you can find me.
All right. Well, we'll put all of that contact information in the show notes. And again, I'm very grateful for your time. Thanks for hanging out and chatting about entrepreneurism.
Yeah.